stop scrolling. Toronto just renamed an actual street after BTS, and ARMY is losing it right now. Not a mural, not a fan project, not something photoshopped for likes. A real Canadian city government officially changed a street sign, printed it, installed it, and unveiled it in front of cameras. If you told me this a few years ago, I would not have believed you. But it happened, it is happening right now. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why this is being called one of the biggest fan moments in K-pop history. Let's start with the street itself, because this is the part that broke the internet first. Back in July, City Councillor Lily Chong brought a motion to Toronto City Council with one simple ask: rename a stretch of Yonge Street, one of the most iconic and historic streets in all of Canada, to BTS Boulevard. Seconded by Councillor James Pasternak, the motion went up for a vote, and it passed. Just like that, government paperwork, real approval, and entire city council saying yes to BTS. This week, it stopped being paperwork and became something you could actually walk up to and touch. 20 official signs went up along Yonge Street, running from North York Boulevard all the way to Finch Avenue. Black and red design, built to match the branding of BTS's ARIRANG World Tour. Crews installed them Thursday morning, right near the Empress Walk Mall in North York, and by Friday, the city was ready to make it official. At 10:30 Friday morning, Councillor Lily Chung stood at the corner of Yonge and North York Boulevard and unveiled the new signage herself, in front of a crowd, with cameras rolling. She wasn't alone either. Sakvin Van, the founder of BTS Army Toronto, stood right beside her for the reveal, which honestly says everything about how much this moment belongs to the fans just as much as it belongs to the band. This is the same Sakvin Van who started the fan club years ago during a difficult period in her life, after her brother encouraged her to lean into her love of BTS, and has since grown it into a community of thousands. Having her up there, next to a sitting city councillor, cutting the ribbon on an official government street sign, is not something that happens by accident. And here's a detail that is going to make you emotional if you're ARMY. The official notice of motion that started all of this literally referenced a BTS song. City officials wrote that the street renaming was, quote, their way of saying you never walk alone, welcoming BTS and ARMY to what they're calling Koreatown North with open arms. Read that again. A Canadian municipal government, in an official city document, quoting a BTS lyric. That is not something a random staffer types by accident. Somebody on that council did their homework, and somebody wanted this fandom to feel genuinely seen. Now here's why all of this is happening right now, at this exact moment. BTS is in Toronto this weekend for 2 sold-out shows at Rogers Stadium, marking their first performances in the city in more than a decade. We are talking about a stadium that holds around 50,000 people, sold out completely, both nights, back-to-back, Saturday and Sunday. This is the group's ARIRANG World Tour, their explosive comeback run after all 7 members, RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, finished South Korea's mandatory military service and reunited. And just weeks before landing in Toronto, they performed at the FIFA World Cup final halftime show in front of one of the largest global audiences imaginable. So by the time they touched down in Canada, expectations were already sky high. But apparently, for Toronto, a sold-out stadium and a halftime show appearance were not enough. They wanted something bigger, something the city had genuinely never done before. And it did not stop with just the street. The city also officially proclaimed this exact weekend, August 22nd and 23rd, as BTS Weekend in Toronto. To mark it, they lit up the giant Toronto sign at Nathan Phillips Square, right outside City Hall, in purple, the color most associated with BTS and this entire fandom. So now the most recognizable landmark sign in the whole city is glowing purple for 2 straight nights, visible to everyone walking through downtown, whether they know who BTS is or not. And it gets even bigger than that. This entire weekend is colliding perfectly with the Korean Harvest Festival happening at Mel Last Man Square in North York, which is being billed as the largest Korean cultural festival in all of Canada. So picture the scene unfolding right now. BTS Boulevard signs lining Yonge Street, the Toronto sign glowing purple at City Hall. Tens of thousands of fans flooding into North York for one of the biggest Korean cultural celebrations on the entire continent. And in the middle of all of it, 2 sold-out stadium shows, 50,000 screaming fans each night. This is not just a concert weekend anymore. This is a full city takeover, and Toronto planned it that way on purpose. And the members themselves are already showing up all over town. Jimin and Jin were spotted dining out together at a restaurant in Toronto days before the show, and the moment photos surfaced, they spread across fan pages within minutes. For a fandom that tracks the whereabouts of these 7 men down to the smallest detail, that alone was enough to send fan Twitter into a full meltdown before the tour had even officially started. And ARMY isn't just showing up to watch either. They're planning their own surprise for the band. Fans in Toronto organized something called the ARMY Maple Light Project, a fully coordinated phone light show designed to fill the entire stadium with one massive message of love for BTS. Here's exactly how it works. Fans download an app called WePix Arena before the concert. No account required, nothing complicated. Inside the app, they select the correct event for whichever night they're attending, day 1 or day 2, and enter their exact seat location, section, and seat number, so the colors line up perfectly across the venue. Timing is everything here. The plan kicks in right after the second surprise song of the night, exactly when BTS sits down for their chat segment with the crowd. That's the cue. The second that moment hits, every single fan taps start on their app at the same time. The screen automatically lights up with the exact color assigned to their seat, and they hold their phone up high toward the stage. Up close, it just looks like scattered colored lights everywhere. But from a distance, from the stage, from the cameras, it all comes together into one giant glowing image, built entirely by fans, for the 7 members standing in the middle of it. The dedication on display all week has honestly been unreal. Local news crews reported fans lining up for merchandise starting at 2 in the morning, hours and hours before doors even opened. And we are talking real money here too. Tour-exclusive gear like jerseys, sweaters, and tank tops reportedly ranging anywhere from around $85 all the way up to over $360, and fans paid it without hesitation. News helicopters actually captured aerial footage of the lines outside Rogers Stadium, and what they showed was staggering. Thousands of people, lines wrapping around entire city blocks, days before the concerts even started. One fan told local reporters she waited 5 hours in line just for the chance to buy merchandise. And she said it without a hint of regret, because for this fandom, being there and being part of it means more than the wait itself. It is not just the stadium either. All over the city, local businesses have been jumping in on the celebration. Several Toronto restaurants rolled out BTS-inspired menus for the entire weekend, cocktails and dishes named after songs like Dynamite and Fire, playing BTS music on loop for anyone walking in the door. Shopping malls across the city ran fan zones with photo booths, giveaways, and Korean cultural workshops leading up to the shows. Even a local golf course hosted a BTS-themed day earlier this month, organized together with BTS Army Toronto, complete with Korean boxed meals and shaved ice for anyone who showed up. This entire city, for this entire week, has quietly rearranged itself around one group. Let's talk about why this actually matters. Because cities do not casually rename streets for musical acts. This is an enormous gesture, and reporters have already started comparing this exact moment to what Toronto did back in 2024, when they created an honorary route called Taylor Swift Way during her Eras tour stop at the Rogers Center. Think about what that comparison actually means. Toronto is placing BTS in the exact same tier of cultural impact as one of the biggest pop stars on the entire planet. That is the level of recognition happening here, and it is not something any city hands out lightly. And here is a detail that makes this whole thing even more special if you're already planning your own pilgrimage to Yonge Street. This is not permanent, which honestly makes it more precious. The city has confirmed BTS Boulevard will stay up until September 23rd. After that, the actual physical signs will be donated to a local charity called NeighborLink North York, and then auctioned off to fans, with proceeds going towards supporting the community and local food banks. So even after the signs come down, the impact of this weekend is going to keep giving back long after the tour has already moved on to its next city. So if you're ARMY anywhere in the world watching this right now, here is what you need to understand. This week, an entire Canadian city stopped and centered itself around BTS. Not just the stadium, not just the merch stands, the actual streets, the actual skyline, the actual city hall. Purple lights across downtown Toronto. 20 official government-installed signs bearing the BTS name. A counselor quoting BTS lyrics in an official city document. Fans lining up before sunrise. A 50,000-person stadium selling out 2 nights in a row. A massive Korean cultural festival happening 2 blocks away. And thousands of fans preparing to light up the entire venue with one synchronized message built with nothing but their phones. Toronto did not have to do any of this. There was no requirement, no obligation, nothing forcing their hand. They chose to make BTS Boulevard happen because they understood exactly what this moment meant to hundreds of thousands of fans converging on their city. And if you ask me, that says just as much about the power of this fandom as it does about the 7 members who built it from the ground up. So tell me in the comments, if BTS Boulevard came to your city, would you be lining up at 2 in the morning too? Make sure you're subscribed, because there is so much more happening around this ARIRANG tour stop, and you do not want to miss what comes next.